Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MFFL Nation podcast. It's been a minute since we've been here, but I'm back with my co-host Amir. Gonna look to start doing this again after every post game. Amir, what's going on, man? Been a minute.
Yeah, it really has, I was worried about the future of the pod, but we're back and let's get straight into it.
We are back, and you know, it's not last year anymore. We're looking at a 16-9 Dallas Mavericks team, third seed in the West after the Thunder beat the Nuggets tonight. And so, yeah, man, we're looking good. We just got the win against the Blazers, 131 to 120. A big win. Just to start it off, we see Derek Lively go down in the first quarter, halfway through the first. So immediately when that happens, you start to question how many weapons you can put around Luka when you have no Kai, Josh, Maxi, and now Derek Lively. So I think having some guys step up tonight, which we will dive into in this episode, was really big for the Mavs tonight. And so just starting off with the first quarter, I think our defensive start was awful. I think we were giving a lot of easy buckets up. One thing that really stood out to me, and I think a lot of Mavs fans are going to be upset about this because everyone speaks so highly of Derek Lively, but he was getting picked on in the pick and roll defense terribly in the first quarter. We saw a lot of Aiden in the beginning of the first quarter. He had the first 7 out of 14 points. Um, it wasn't his best switching that we've seen, so sort of an off 6 minutes of Lively tonight. But once again, Luka shines in the first quarter. Had a 22-point first quarter. So yeah, man, that always hectic when you don't have your star players around Luka.
Yeah, I mean, and I think once Lively went down too, see in the previous games when Lively wasn't on the court, I actually thought that Rashawn Holmes was doing a really good job. And the fact that he wasn't in tonight, that and we had to use DP for a lot of minutes. That even when Lively was playing, our interior defense wasn't so good, and then even after, we were just giving up a ton of points in the paint. And
Yeah,
Aiton, who, if we remember from our playoff series back like a year and a half ago, he was not very dominant in the paint. But I mean, he has improved a lot since then. But having someone like that dominating our paint isn't so good.
right. Um, and one thing that I really liked seeing from DP tonight, I don't know if a lot of people watching this will be familiar with the saying, but the Gortat screen basically is just when it's a pick and roll, and when DP, the roller, is rolling to the basket, he screens the man switching on Luka, which is typically in a drop coverage, and that allows for Luka to just get an easy layup. And we saw three of those in the first half. One of them was an and one. So I really liked what we got out of DP. I think it motivates him more now that he's usually not getting any playing time. So when he is checking into the games, he's trying to play to his full potential.
Yeah, I mean that's something that Luca and Pau, just with the chemistry they've been playing together for like 5 years now. And the Gortat screen is something that I've noticed for a long. We've been using that for a long time, and it's super effective. Especially Luca in the paint is just dominant. And if you can get him really easy looks without him having to put in like a ton of effort to get to the rim, that that just helps, right?
It does help. And I just got an alert. Luka passed Will Chamberlain for 40-point triple doubles tonight. So big accomplishment for someone who's not even 25 years old yet. But yeah, just diving into it, one thing I've been vouching for Grant Williams a lot. I love Grant. Had a great start to the season. Hasn't been shooting well lately. But just the impact he makes on the floor. He just honestly a very underrated facilitator because when he catches the ball in the corner, if it's even about to be slightly contested, it's a pump fake drive to the middle and a kick out. He had 4 assists tonight. Only had 3 points, but like I said, the defensive impact he makes for us guarding the best 3 to 5 positions on the opposing team has been really big for us. I think one thing that we talked a lot about in the offseason was having someone come in that is a player that gets minutes that can show vocal leadership. And I think that's something we've seen Luka and Kyrie improve on as well. But having another guy come step in immediately in his first year. We saw the videos in the offseason where Grant Williams pulled everyone into half court in the middle of a practice and just said, we can't start off slow. We got to keep going. Every game matters and everything. So I think having Grant as a vocal presence on this team has been big for us. And I'm not worried about his little cold streak he's on right now. I think the ball's gonna fall in the basket. It happens to every player. So I like what we got out of Grant this year, and hopefully sooner than later he picks up the shooting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not really too worried about it either. Uh, Again, we need defense more than anything. We rank top five in offense already or around there. And from what I heard in the broadcast, I believe we're 22nd defensively. So any players that can give a huge impact on that side of the ball is just big. And yeah, he'll pick it up. I'm not worried. He can knock him down. We saw it early in the season. He'll be fine.
Right. And I think one thing that we really need to focus on just for a few minutes is the outstanding play we have seen from Dante X in the last 4 or 5 games. I mean, if there was a comeback player of the year award still, I think you give it to him right now. Unfortunately,
100%.
I believe they got rid of that rule, but he had an injury early in his career, then he was playing overseas, and then Nico Harrison takes a chance on him, brings him in, signs him to a vet minimum deal. Same with Derek Jones Jr., who had 16 points tonight. But I mean, Dante Exum, you pull up the stats from these last few games, and he's just been playing at such an efficient rate on both sides of the floor. I mean, the defense has been extraordinary. I I'm really interested to see if Jason Kidd will consider starting him once Kyrie comes back and putting Grant as like the second guy off the bench. Because if you just look at Dante Exum as a starter, I mean, tonight, 18 points on 8 for 11 shooting. The game before, 14 points on 5 for 6 shooting. The Lakers game, obviously, 7 for 9 from 3 with 26. Memphis, 16 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. And then the other Portland game, he had 23, 7, and 6, all at efficient rates. He's shooting 58.8% in December. He's shooting, let's see, this 56.5% from three in December. And that's in 7 games. So he's really thriving in the system. I think it's great to have him on the court because obviously Luka's pace has improved. He has been playing faster basketball, but it's not fast. I mean, he's one of the slowest players in the league, and obviously he's one of the best in the league. But bringing a guy in like Exum who's going to push the pace, get guys open, attack the basket, finish at a consistent, efficient rate has just been really good for Dallas.
And yeah, I mean, obviously, we brought in Dante to replace the Frank Ntilikina minutes, or that was the original intent of bringing him in.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's been able to even exceed those expectations. I mean, I saw a little bit of what he was doing in Europe and back when he was still in the NBA before that. And the issue with him, pretty much since he was drafted, was just the offense, right? Right. He was
Right.
always his defense was always been a known quantity. He's always been a very capable defender. Same with Frank. And when Frank was able to knock down some threes for us last year and also in the playoffs the year before, that was really big for us. And the fact that Exum, not just he was hitting threes in that Lakers game, I remember as well. Those are some big threes in the fourth quarter that won us that game pretty much. And so the fact that he brings it on both sides, when you have a player like Luka, I kind of mentioned this with Grant earlier, you need two-way players. Every
Right.
single other player, especially if you play slow, right? You got to have good players defensively. And so it's actually interesting to see how the team runs without Kyrie in the lineup. Because although it does remind me a little bit of how we played before the trade, which was a little concerning, where it's just like Luka is heavily being relied on. The fact that these
Heavily.
guys like Derek Jones Jr. and Exum and a lot of these other role players, even Morris had a role tonight. Uh, I think that's going to be the difference between us being an 11 seed or out of the playoffs or a play-in versus a team that can contend in a serious way.
Right. And I think the key word of this year, and Jason Kidd has brought it up multiple times, is the next man up mentality. And that has just been the definition of this Mavs team. Kyrie goes down. Exum steps up. You see Lively go down tonight. Markieff Morris has 10 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. Derek Jones Jr. Playing even a bigger role without Josh Green. So I think it's just been really impressive overall from those guys.
I actually have a question for you, right? So talking about defense, one of the guys we brought in for that was Omax. And obviously in the last few games, he's been getting a little bit more playing time, including tonight. How do you think his uh, progression is going to go from here? Because obviously he's not really earned too many minutes so far. Do you think he'll keep improving, or how do you think that's going to go with him?
You know, I love what I've seen from Omax, and I think he's gonna have a very similar up and coming to Dorian Finney-Smith. Sort of, I wouldn't say a bad shooter, but not a good shooter right now, just like Doe in the beginning of his career, but just a great defender. I mean, you see the clips if you go on Twitter or X, excuse me. Um, but I mean, the hustle he has, he takes the right shots. He doesn't force any shots. He can attack the basket when he wants to. I think he's a little shy with the ball still, but I mean, the perimeter and interior defense we've seen from him and the athleticism is through the roof. So, I like what we're seeing from Omax. I honestly thought we were going to see more tonight. But the way that Markeith was playing, there wasn't really a reason to play Omax. I mean, he played 6 minutes and had 5 rebounds and an assist still. Um, so I mean, I like what I see from Omax. I don't think when this Mavs team is healthy, unless players get into foul trouble, he doesn't get a lot of time just because Maxi is a very good defender and he's currently more of a capable shooter than Omax.
I don't know. Maxi's just always hurt though. That's the problem with him, right? He
Yeah,
can't stay healthy. I mean, when he plays, he's great, and he's a great fit on the team. He's proven it for a long time. But next man up mentality, right? We brought it up earlier. And when
it
guys
is.
go down, we need the other guys to step up and fill those shoes.
And you got to give. And I've been preaching this. You got to give props to Nico Harrison on bringing in Derek Jones Jr. and Dante Exum. Having the ability to see that you can sign these two guys for 2 vet minimum deals and have have them both starting for us now is pretty crazy. I don't call it luck. I think you have to be smart to make those kind of signings. So I mean, love what we're getting from those two guys, and then I want to go on to Jaden Hardy a little bit tonight. 2 for 2 from the field, 4 points, 3 assists, or 3 rebounds, excuse me. Hardy, I think he would be such a good player for this team if he just accepted the role of being a catch and shoot player because he's a good shooter. But when he tries to go off the dribble and everything, it gets ugly, and that's one of the reasons why the Lakers came back a few nights ago against us. We still got the win, but yeah, I think he went like 1 for 7 in that game. So I think if he accepts that role, but I don't think we see a lot of Hardy, and I think Hardy hits the trade block actually. When you have a guy like Seth that can do it at a more efficient rate with a better IQ, can guard the ball a little bit better. I think Seth is the obvious player that you give the more minutes to. Um, so I mean, yeah, I it's all night for Hardy, but I don't see him in Dallas for that much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really like Hardy, and I think he has a ton of potential still. All the things that we were saying about him, I think it's all still there. It's just not the right situation, right? I mean, given that we have Luka, given that we have Kai, given that we have a lot of guards that can already create. Like those two guys, like that's gonna fill your like guard creation more than enough. And what you need around those guys are just solid defenders. Which again, applaud Nico for constructing the roster. We were complaining about that last year, how the roster was poorly constructed for the last year or two before that. And I think that has really been addressed in the offseason. I still think there's a little bit to go, which I'll bring that up in a sec. But I just think that although an off the bench creator was a need for us at a time, it's not really a need anymore. And the fact that he can't defend, I mean, I saw it in a few plays even today, but also in previous games, he just gets exposed. And so honestly,
Yeah,
just both for him and for the Mavs, he just would be better on another team. And I know
I
you,
I agree.
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but I know you posted a tweet the other day about like guys that should be on the block, right? with Timmy and Hardy being the two like
No, 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 no.
no. Timmy was on the borderline, right? He was like in the like if a good
If
offer
for
comes
the
in, right?
for the right price, for the right price.
Yeah, there was some. I mean, I don't remember the exact guys he put on there right now off the top of my head, but
Yeah, I got a little hate for that. I mean, that tweet got like 300,000 views because I put Grant and Dwight in untouchables.
I mean, what are you gonna get for Dwight? You know, like, I mean, it's not. He's much
That
more valuable on
one,
our team than any other team. There's no point in giving him up.
yes, yes, thank you. People people don't get that. They just base it off. First of all, he's gotten so much hate for the Kyrie injury. I feel so bad for him.
I mean, that's just
But
an accident, freak accident,
oh
but
yeah, completely. You know, Dwight's one of the nicest guys, so it was
and
completely accidental.
if you go back to the pods, I think I was saying this in the pods. I definitely remember saying this how he was just in too big a role for what he
Yeah,
is, and now that he's like the second or third string center, he's playing better. Obviously, tonight he was thrust into a bigger role than usual because the first two guys are out, and he can fill that role okay. But as a depth center, I think he is a good fit on this team. I think he brings a lot to the locker room. I think he can provide minutes, quality minutes. But yeah, what kind of moves are you trying to see? Like, what kind of changes are you trying to see the Mavs make? Because I honestly, the biggest thing for me is that we keep, and it happened in this game too, we keep letting teams like hang around. Like even when we're playing well, right? In games we play poorly, we don't win usually. We just like either get
right.
blown out or it's just we're not really there. But even in games we play well, because of whether it's the defense or just like not being too consistent throughout the game. We keep getting letting even these poor teams. I'd say we've had a pretty easy schedule to start. When we play against like tougher teams more consistently, I don't know. I feel like we played like not the best teams.
Art, no, I think you're bugging a little bit on that. I mean, we have a record of 7-7 against teams above 500, which is pretty solid.
I'm not saying that's bad. No, I'm not saying that's bad or anything. But even I'm saying there's worse teams, right? It's not like our record's bad against them. But from watching games, we've just let them hang around too long. Even like the
Yeah,
Lakers game, we were up 20. We
Charlotte
almost
too.
lost. Charlotte. Even the game today, like the fact that we gave up 39 in the first, and even when we took leads, they weren't even the fourth quarter. They made a small comeback, where we had a
Right.
bigger lead. And they narrowed it down.
You
What
know,
do you think is like the best fix for that? Is it like a personnel thing, or is it like a
there
coaching thing?
I think there's two things in the personnel. And one thing I want to say first, I was talking to someone, not going to say names, obviously someone in the Mavs organization. Um, they said one of the big differences of why our record is 16-9 right now and why we were not as good as a basketball team last year is because instead of having guys when we have injuries, having guys like Frank Ntilikina, McKinley Wright, you know, the list, the Theo Pinson, instead of having those guys, now you have guys like Dante Exum. Now Jaden Hardy's that kind of guy. Now Seth Curry's that kind of guy. So I think that's something that the Mavs really focused on in the offseason was just making sure that we have 15 players on this team that can play for us, that can help us win games if someone goes down. Not just having the last 11 through 15 be scrubs on our team just to fill out the roster. But back to your question, I think there's as a Mavs fan, there's two dreams that we would like to have by the trade deadline, and that's having a better backup center. I listed some targets on my Twitter. You look at Andre Drummond, Isaiah Hardenstein. I like Marvin Bagley. I would throw I would throw Josh Green and maybe a first for Zach Collins. I might get a little shamed for that, but I really like Zach Collins.
He's
Um,
good. I like him too.
I like Zeller. But I mean, I would love to have Drummond. I think he'd be a great backup. But a backup center, and then obviously upgrading the wing position. You even saw Kyle Kuzma tweet it, saying we're one player away from being a contender, and I think that one player away is someone like Anunoby. But sadly, at
Dude,
this point,
okay. People
I
don't
think
we're
at this
not
point,
getting Anunoby. The
yeah,
Raptors want too much for him. Like they I don't know what's up with the Raptors. Like teams have wanted their players for so long and they haven't been willing to trade pretty much anyone. So I don't. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I don't. I agree about the fit, but like I don't see it happening.
I think, and I love Grant Williams. I don't think right now he is a starter. I think he would be way better off the bench for us. And this is my reason why. I'm saying in this dream scenario that we have, I'm saying if you get rid of Maxi and you could bring in like a stretch 3-4 and have Grant come off the bench, like for instance, if we got Jeremy Grant, Mavs fans dream of Jeremy Grant. If you got Jeremy Grant and had Grant coming off as the
And
second guy
he
off the
played
bench,
today,
I mean,
right? We saw him today.
yeah, bro, he killed it in his first game back from concussion. Um, someone like that, man, I think it would be so beneficial to have a stretch 3/4 on this team, but I just don't really see what we could give up. I think Josh Green, I think his stock has fallen so much this season. Obviously teams are going to be less interested due to the fact he's been out for what, 2 weeks now. They haven't really given any updates. Kid said he's been playing a little bit in practice. Same with Maxi. Not going to get targeted a lot when you're missing basically the whole first half of the season. So I think if we make a legit trade, sadly, I don't know if Nico would do it, but I think you might have to give away Omax. Um, Obviously, the first if we're making a big trade, the first round pick goes away without a doubt.
And
Um,
honestly, giving up, with the exception of Lively, like giving up any of our young
and
guys, given the
who
way our
wants
roster
Rashawn?
is,
Who wants Rashawn Holmes? Let's be honest. He's solid, but
I wouldn't trade him. I think he's good. I wouldn't. I mean, I think he's fine. Like given the role he's playing, he's put in good minutes in
no.
the last few games.
If you could put Rashawn Holmes in a package deal and keep Dwight Powell as the third string center, you do it without a doubt.
No, no, no.
Because
I don't
you
dis.
also got to think of the fact how much small ball the Mavs play.
So you're saying make Dwight the backup center, or make him the third string?
The third string,
Who's the backup?
I would like Drummond, man. I like Drummond. I mean, we need the rebounding still.
I actually,
Lively's not the best rebounder I've ever seen.
and he, I think, well, he's a rookie. Like, I mean, I'd give him leeway. I think he's fine for rebounding. He's like, he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I'd actually say more so on the Jeremy Grant thing that you were saying. I think we need a forward of some kind, another guy with Grant, like whether that's putting him on the bench, playing two bigger forwards together. Because I think the bigger lineup suits us better with Luka at the one, that kind of thing.
I would love McDaniels.
Well,
I love him
he's worth a lot, but yes, I agree. A player
a
like
lot.
that is a dream kind of player.
I got a
But that
question.
that kind of that kind of role, right? That I think that like a 3-4 kind of guy is something we need an upgrade
I
at.
feel like someone that could fill that position, and I know he's been having a rough year to start. Andrew Wiggins.
I actually agree. He's been
But
having a rough year.
he has been shooting like
Honestly,
26% three, but I mean,
that's fine. Honestly, the way you'd make trades is you buy low, right? You like that's someone I would buy low on right now, even though his contract is not to the best. Uh, it's worth it. I think that's an upgrade.
and
Depending on what we give up.
I think the Warriors are going to try to make a trade. I
Definitely,
mean,
their team is they're not making the play in at this point. I think they're
yeah,
11th in the conference. They're
10th,
definitely going to
10th or
do
11th. Yeah.
something.
I saw we were like top candidates for Draymond, but yeah.
What do you think?
That's,
No, we
no,
don't need him. We
no,
don't need him.
no,
We don't need him.
no, we don't.
You
But
got Grant,
back
which in my opinion is better. He's younger. He's a better fit. I think
better shooter.
better shooter, better for the locker room. I think. He's not
Yeah,
a.
I don't think Kyrie and Luka would like him.
Yeah, I think it's a presence that complements the guys that are already there versus
Yeah,
Draymond, who would kind of take over the locker room, in my
right.
opinion.
Right, but back to the game tonight, overall it was the first quarter was super ugly. But you look at it, we had a 14 we won the second quarter by 14 points. We tied in the second half in both quarters. So I mean, just having someone like Luka step up, and I mean, when you have Kyrie out, your second best player and your second best scorer, Luka's going to have to carry a little bit. I think Tim's been playing amazing basketball lately, especially against the Lakers. He had what 32. He stepped up tonight, had 25, hit five threes, shot 15 of them. But
I actually think that Tim, like I know he's been the obvious guy to put on the block, but I I
I'm not I'm
I
not
think
putting Tim on the block
I'm not
unless
saying I'm
unless you
putting him
get
on the
something
block.
crazy.
No, I think the way the way he's playing, he's not going to be playing better than he's playing right now. I don't think. And the way I see it, he's aging to an extent. He's around 30, right? Maybe a little older than that. Um, I think that given the score, I think given Seth, given some of the guards you already have, what it's
31.
right. So between him and Hardy, there's no point of having both those guys on the roster. I know they don't fill the
So trade
same role
Hardy.
if we can, but
I'm
like
so tired of seeing Jay and Hardy in a Mavs jersey.
really,
I'm so tired of it. I think he is. I don't like bashing Mavs players, but I just think he's an awful fit for this team. I think it's super unnecessary. I don't think Luka likes playing with him. I think Kyrie likes him because it's sort of like a little brother for him. He teaches him new things. I see the oh for real, like I see the chemistry they have together. They both like to push the ball. They played well together in that little spurt Luka was hurt in last year when Kyrie first got here and they won those Clippers and Kings games. Um, I just get rid of Hardy. I'd rather see AJ Lawson. I'd rather
he
see AJ
actually
Lawson.
put up some decent games a few games ago. Shit,
He
I
did.
know he's your boy, but
He did. He was
he's
he was he was one of the reasons why we made that 30-point comeback against the Thunder.
yeah, that's 100%. He was playing really well during that.
Yeah, but looking at this upcoming schedule, just tweeted it out a few minutes ago actually. Our next 7 out of 8 games are against teams above 500. Um, our next three are rough. You got Nuggets on the road, Clippers at home, Rockets on the road, which I don't really consider on the road, but um, the Rockets actually have the best home record in the NBA. They're 11-1.
They've
So
been really good.
I mean I
They
love
surprised the
I
hell out of
love
me. I'll say that.
no you the way Alperen Sengun plays, man, it's beautiful.
No, I
It's
believe
literally
in
it's
him.
literally
He
baby Jokic.
agree, but
They made
everyone
they
else on
made
that
the they
roster,
made the right
I don't like.
moves. They had a bunch of money this offseason. They overpaid Fred VanVleet a little. I'm one of the few people that thinks Dylan Brooks got the contract he deserves. I think he deserved every bit of that. He's a great defender and he's been playing great basketball. I mean, Dylan, I don't like the guy, but I mean, I I got to be honest. I mean, he's averaging 14 and he's shooting 39% from three. Um, so I mean, when you put up those kind of numbers, and Van Fleet's averaging what like 9 assists. You got guys like Jalen Green, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, the Thompson twin. He's getting
I don't
healthy
know. The
again.
coaching difference seems to be another big difference.
Yeah.
Where
Uh,
sorry, I mean Silas was a Mavs guy, but having Udoka in there has made a big difference.
yeah. But looking at this Nuggets game coming up on Monday, this upcoming Monday, on the road, Nuggets just lost at home. I couldn't tell you the last time they lost two in a row at home. It's it's gonna be
We also
difficult,
we
and
the
I think
games are always
honestly
close, but we usually
they're
lose.
close, but I'm gonna be fully honest with you. Derek Lively sprained his ankle tonight. I don't care if he's ready to go against Denver. I think you just let him rest because you're about to
Agree.
play a Clippers team that's on a 6-7 game winning streak, depending on tonight. Um, that I think you really need Derek Lively for a team that drives the ball with guys like PG, Kawhi. You got to have a rim presence with Zubats. Um, so I think if Derek Lively's even a little bit iffy about playing on Monday, you just let him rest. I don't know how they'll be thinking though, due to the fact that they're tied for the 3 seed right now. So I mean, I don't know if they're gonna want that win badly or what. I hope Luka doesn't play heavy minutes against them because I really think, man, I mean, you go Nuggets, Clippers, Rockets, Spurs, Suns, Cavs, Timberwolves, Warriors in your next eight. That's hard. I'm praying that we get Kyrie back by Christmas.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I feel like it's coming from a bias standpoint. I don't think he's gonna be ready by Christmas.
I feel like it might be like I feel like this might be a little bit of a conspiratorial thing to say, but I feel like just given that it's the Kyrie versus KD matchup, it's the Christmas day, like I feel like there might be some extra motivation. I don't
Oh,
know
I
from
think
him
if
necessarily, but from the league or from the team to get him out there.
we're winning that game if Kyrie and Lively play. I can tell you that. Especially with Beal not playing. I think with a big man, the reason why we lost that game last year was because we had no big. We have a big this year. I'm not worried. It's Luka and Kai. You know Luka's going to go crazy against the Suns. You know Kai's going to want to go crazy against KD. And I think now that you have I think Lively's so much better than Nurkic, um, especially at this young of an age. But
Hey, but
you
I
know,
know this is our first pod in a while, so I feel like we got to just say this because he got hurt, we didn't really talk about him a ton. But Lively, man, he's been so good for us, man. I'm so happy we brought him in. I mean,
I
I was
mean,
skeptical at first,
perfect.
necessarily. I thought it was a good selection, but like before the draft, I wasn't like sold on him. I didn't know how he was gonna be in the league. But shout out to Nico, man. He's been putting in the work.
I really can't. I love having Kai in Dallas. Don't get me wrong. The only mistake Nico and Cuban made was not re-signing Brunson. I love having Kai in Dallas, and if we re-sign Brunson, you don't get Lively. So you got to look at it from that viewpoint because we're not getting that pick last year if we have Brunson on our team. We were definitely in the playoffs if we had Brunson. It was just a chemistry thing for Luka and Kyrie last year. Um, but I mean, Nico's been perfect, man. Lively's been unreal. I mean, the chemistry he has with Luka and Kyrie, and slowly growing with Exum has just been great. I mean, he's been getting a bunch of blocks lately. He's averaging, I think, the third most blocks out of the rookies. You know, he's averaging 9 and 8, 10 and 8. Probably drop a little tonight
Is
because of
his
the
field goal percentage still like the highest in the league or whatever?
number one in the league.
It was the most of all time at one point, but
And Dwight Powell still has like the best offensive rating of like NBA history, which is like the craziest stat ever.
hey, untradeable, untradeable. That's all I'm saying.
Just got a Brad Townsend tweet. Markieff Morris says that Luka Doncic on Luka. He said, "Man, I've played with some of the great players, but this game is just so easy to him. I've never seen nobody like damn near walk through the game. He plays the same way in practice. It's a skill. I don't see why he's not number one in the running for MVP. I just don't get it because he's carrying our team, scoring rebounds and assists on a nightly basis. And I think having a guy like Keith in the locker room is really big for us too. Someone with vocal leadership, uh, veteran presence. So I really
I
like this Mavs
also
roster.
I agree, and I think the fact that we're falling a little under the radar is a good thing. I feel like just historically, whenever we get a lot of press or whatever, it doesn't work out too good. Uh, and so that I don't know, I'm just reminiscing of the 2011 squad. That team was always counted out, and look what they were able to do. So
Yeah. I will say though, if we get Kai back in the next week, this little December slate that we have remaining left is really gonna tell us a lot about the potential of the team this year.
100%.
So, by the way, I think we beat the Timberwolves if Kyrie plays.
I mean, is the question is about Edwards' health. He's been in and out of the lineup. We'll see how he is by then. But
Oh,
like,
him and Cat went crazy tonight. I forget the numbers, but they both dropped 30 something. But yeah, man, I mean, great Mavs win. Takes us up to 16-9, third in the West after the Nuggets loss. We take on the Nuggets Monday, uh, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. They are playing in Denver, so I believe they're on 7 p.m. for them.
yeah,
Um, So hopefully we could get some Luka magic and find a way to figure out how to get a win there. And yeah, man, happy to get the pod
Actually,
back going.
yeah, before we leave, I think just for this upcoming game, what's like one thing that you want to see from the Mavs or one key to the game, so to speak, that would give us a chance to win, since obviously we're both skeptical.
Is Lively playing or not in this scenario? No,
Is Lively the key? Him playing? Is that the key?
I think if Derek Lively plays, we definitely don't win because
Okay.
you got to think of it. You got okay. Well, I won't say that. If Rashawn, because Rashawn was sick tonight, if he can play on Monday, I think that gives us a little better chance. But I mean, I think if Dwight Powell and Markieff Morris are your centers, Jokic is going to do some disgusting things to them.
I don't know, the way I see it is Jokic is gonna do.
I think we just if we want to beat the Nuggets on the road, you just got to hit your threes.
I think
We're gonna
yeah,
need better from Grant. We're gonna need Dante. I can't. I mean, their guard defenders aren't that good unless they put like Aaron Gordon on Luka, which I could see.
I don't know. I think for me the key of the game is uh try to stop everybody except for Jokic. Can't don't let the role players beat you because
That's what
Jokic,
a lot of people do on Luka. That's what they do.
yeah, because especially Jokic, he really likes to get his teammates involved, and you know the way he plays, it's he likes to he's the engine for that team. So if he can't get the others going, they're going to struggle.
Yeah,
And you've
and
seen the games where he has struggled this year. So
an
yeah,
off night for Jamal Murray over 6 from three. Christian Braun's been playing really well, but
yeah,
I think we're just gonna have to knock down shots. I do know that we've heard Mavs players in the past talk about the altitude in Colorado and how big of an impact that plays. So I mean, hopefully our guys are in good shape for that game. Hopefully they get some rest tomorrow, get some rest on this flight they're about to take with the time change and everything going from California to Texas. So, I mean, we're going to have to play some really good basketball, some of our best of the season to beat the Nuggets. But as always, Amir, it's great having you on the pod, man. Glad to get it back going. 16-9 feels good to be a Mavs fan right now. Hopefully, we can keep this up. Where are we? 5-1 in the last six. 4-1 in the last six. 5-1. Five and
something
one.
like that. Yeah.
We're on a 4 game winning streak. Then we lost to the Wolves and we just won tonight. So 5-1 in our last 6 games. So hopefully we can keep this up, get the win against the Nuggets, and we will be back after that game.
There you go.
Awesome having you on the pod, man. See you then.
All right.